Have you ever been around someone who seemed friendly, but something about them just didn't sit right with you? Maybe their words were sweet, but their energy felt off, almost like a hidden agenda lurking beneath the surface. If you've ever experienced this strange discomfort, you're not alone. What if I told you that this feeling could be a sign of something much deeper? Someone close to you may secretly harbor resentment, jealousy, or even hatred without showing it openly. In this video, we're diving deep into the subtle yet powerful signs that could reveal hidden negativity in your relationships. We'll explore 8 telltale signs that someone around you may be projecting their unresolved issues onto you. These signs are often disguised as small, innocent gestures or comments, making them easy to overlook. But if you know what to look for, you'll have the tools to protect yourself. By the end of this video, you'll not only learn to spot these hidden signs, but also understand how they can affect your emotional well-being. Armed with this knowledge, you'll be better equipped to set healthy boundaries, navigate tricky relationships, and ultimately foster deeper, more authentic connections. Don't miss out. Watch until the end to uncover insights that could transform how you interact with those around you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. First sign, hidden contempt behind irony. Have you ever been on the receiving end of what seemed like a harmless joke, only for it to leave a bitter, uncomfortable taste in your mouth? You laugh it off, trying to brush it aside, but deep down, something feels off. Carl Jung, the brilliant mind behind many of the profound insights on the human psyche, observed that people often dislike qualities in others that they cannot accept within themselves. It's a harsh truth, but it's one that we all need to face. Contempt, Jung argued, often hides behind the mask of irony. What may initially appear as a playful or sarcastic comment is, in fact, a subtle expression of resentment. These remarks are so easily dismissed as just a joke, but in reality, they can cut deeper than any outright insult. The person who makes these comments might not even be fully aware of what they're doing, but that doesn't make the pain any less real. When someone uses irony or sarcasm as a shield, it's often a defense mechanism to deflect their insecurities. It's their way of projecting their inner turmoil onto you, as if by diminishing you, they can somehow feel better about themselves. I've personally experienced this kind of behavior, and I know how disorienting it can feel. You question yourself, wondering if you're overreacting, but deep down, that discomfort is hard to ignore. Irony isn't a direct attack. It's a subtle weapon that doesn't scream hostile, yet it lingers and leaves a stain on your heart. The harsh truth is that people who harbor these feelings often don't realize that their behavior speaks louder than their words. It's in the patterns, the casual joke here, the thinly veiled comment there. If someone never gives you praise without quickly adding a sharp, pointed remark, it's time to pay closer attention. Jung's principle of projection sheds light on this all too common dynamic. The unconscious mind cannot lie. What's really inside us always finds a way to show itself. These little comments, these offhanded remarks, are like little windows into a person's true feelings. If we don't pay attention, we risk allowing them to slowly erode our self-worth. It's easy to let them slide, to laugh it off as just another joke, but I believe we owe it to ourselves to take a step back and reflect on what's happening. True intentions always show through, no matter how carefully they're disguised. And once we become aware of the pattern, we can begin to protect ourselves from its subtle but destructive influence. Don't let yourself be fooled by the mask of irony. It may seem innocent, but beneath it, contempt is waiting to surface. Once you recognize it, you'll gain the power to guard your emotional well-being and confront these hidden, toxic dynamics before they can take root in your life. Second sign, subtle sabotage. Have you ever shared a personal goal or exciting plan with someone, only to find that, right after, everything starts to go wrong? Maybe a simple suggestion turns into a setback, or a seemingly harmless piece of advice leads you down a path that you later regret. The minor accidents, forgotten promises, and unexpected obstacles start to pile up, leaving you questioning if it's all just bad luck. But what if it's not a coincidence? What if someone, either consciously or unconsciously, is subtly sabotaging your progress? Carl Jung was deeply aware of how unconscious dynamics shape our relationships. He understood that hostility doesn't always present itself in obvious ways. Sometimes it shows up in the form of these small, seemingly insignificant actions. They don't feel like outright attacks, yet they have a way of eroding your confidence and frustrating your efforts. At first, you may dismiss them as bad timing or miscommunication, but when these things begin to happen repeatedly, a deeper intention might be at play. Jung believed that people who struggle with unresolved inner conflicts project their frustrations onto others. In other words, when someone sabotages your progress, it's usually because they're uncomfortable with their lack of progress. The success or happiness of someone else can be threatening to them because it acts as a mirror, reflecting what they haven't achieved or what they feel they lack. This kind of sabotage isn't about making a dramatic, malicious move against you. It's quiet, subtle, and often disguised as help or concern. I've seen this in my own life. You share a dream with someone, feeling supported and excited, only to later find that things start to fall apart. It's as if the universe conspires against you, but when you look closer, you realize that the interference is coming from someone closer to you than you might have thought. And that's when the unsettling feeling sets in, the discomfort, the doubt. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you know something isn't right. It's essential to stay alert and trust your intuition. If you sense that someone is actively or passively hindering your progress, don't ignore that feeling. Jung's wisdom reminds us that the first step to breaking free from these toxic dynamics is to consciously recognize them. Once you acknowledge the existence of sabotage, even in its most subtle form, you can take the necessary steps to protect yourself. Guard your energy, trust in your abilities, and keep your goals close to your heart. The more you learn to identify these hidden forces, the more empowered you become to block them and pursue your dreams without the weight of someone else's negativity dragging you down. Recognizing these subtle signs is not just about protecting yourself from others, it's about reclaiming your power, your peace, and your path forward. And when you see sabotage for what it truly is, you'll no longer let it steal your momentum. Instead, you'll rise above it, stronger and more determined than ever. Third sign, lack of genuine support in critical moments. Have you ever found yourself reaching out to someone during one of the most important moments in your life, only to be met with indifference? Maybe you're celebrating a huge accomplishment, or perhaps you're facing a deep personal crisis, and yet the person you thought would stand by you seems emotionally distant, almost as if they're a stranger. It's painful, isn't it? That feeling of wanting to be seen, heard, and supported, only to be met with silence or superficial comfort. It's as if they're physically there, but their heart and mind are elsewhere. Carl Jung, a brilliant psychologist, emphasized that true relationships are based on reciprocity and genuine presence. In other words, the essence of any real bond is mutual support, especially during critical moments of life. And yet, many of us have experienced the profound disappointment of being surrounded by people who, though physically present, fail to offer the emotional connection we desperately need. Whether it's a moment of great joy or a time of crisis, when someone we care about responds indifferently, changes the subject, or offers only empty words of comfort, we can't help but feel the sting of neglect. Jung described this behavior as dissociation from the self. It's a coping mechanism for people who are so disconnected from their own emotions that they struggle to connect with the emotions of others. Those who haven't made peace with their struggles often find it difficult to genuinely rejoice for others, or to offer real empathy during tough times. Instead, they hide their emotional distance behind excuses saying they're too busy, too tired, or simply forgot to show up in a meaningful way. I know firsthand how painful this can be. When you share something important and the response feels cold or dismissive, it can shatter your sense of connection with that person. It leaves you wondering if they ever truly cared. And over time, this pattern becomes impossible to ignore. You start to realize that when you need them most, they're nowhere to be found emotionally. They may be physically there, but their heart isn't, and that absence speaks volumes. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. It's essential to pay attention to how someone reacts when you share something personal. Do they listen with empathy, or do they quickly change the topic to something that serves them? Jung reminded us that we should seek relationships that uplift and empower us, not those that drain us or make us feel small. If someone consistently downplays your successes or dismisses your concerns, it's time to reflect on the impact this has on your emotional well-being. You deserve more than just a half-hearted response. By becoming aware of this dynamic, we can protect our energy and stop wasting time on relationships that don't offer the mutual appreciation and support we need. Genuine relationships are about standing together through thick and thin, celebrating the highs and comforting each other during the lows. If someone in your life consistently fails to meet you at that level of connection, it's time to ask yourself, is this relationship truly nourishing, or is it simply a source of emotional depletion? Only when we acknowledge these patterns can we begin to nurture the relationships that truly matter, those that are built on the foundation of love, respect, and genuine care for one another. 4th sign, quiet, hidden competition. Have you ever shared a personal victory or exciting achievement with someone, only to find that instead of celebrating with you, they immediately shift the spotlight to themselves? Perhaps they quickly mention their success, or, even more subtly, downplay your accomplishment as if to say, "That's nice, but look what I've done." It's a strange feeling, isn't it? You walk away from the conversation wondering if they heard you, or if their response was just a veiled attempt to overshadow your moment. Carl Jung had a keen understanding of the unconscious dynamics that shape our relationships. He observed that hidden competition often arises when people unconsciously project their unresolved insecurities and suppressed aspects of themselves onto others. This type of competition rarely presents itself in a direct, aggressive manner. Instead, it sneaks in through small, nearly imperceptible gestures, moments that, on the surface, might seem innocent. But underneath, they're driven by a sense of rivalry. When you share a success and this person feels compelled to highlight their own, or worse, diminish yours, it's not just a friendly exchange, it's a subtle expression of envy. This behavior often comes from a place of unconscious insecurity. Rather than celebrating your achievement, they shift the focus to themselves, as if to prove they're somehow more worthy of recognition. The insidious thing about this is that it doesn't scream, "I'm jealous," or "I want to compete with you," but it subtly erodes your sense of accomplishment, leaving you questioning your worth. I've seen this pattern unfold in my own life. It's a kind of emotional tug-of-war where you feel your success is being minimized, not because someone openly insults you, but because they can't let you have the spotlight. This is often masked as casual corrections, petty comparisons, or even backhanded compliments that sting more than they soothe. They might say, "Well, that's great, but remember I did something similar last year," or "It's nice that you got that, but I've been trying for this longer than you." It's all about comparison, and it's draining. Jung emphasized the importance of recognizing these subtle projections. The only way to grow emotionally and personally is to become aware of the hidden dynamics that shape our relationships. When we understand the unconscious forces at play, we can stop allowing them to affect us. It's about recognizing when someone's actions are a reflection of their own inner turmoil and not a true reflection of our worth. If you constantly feel measured or challenged in the presence of this person, it's time to take a step back and assess the situation. Is this a relationship that empowers you, or one that subtly drains your confidence? It's important to ask yourself if it's worth continuing to invest energy in this relationship, or if it would be better to distance yourself. True friendships and healthy relationships are about mutual respect and celebration, not about competing for the spotlight. Once you see through this behavior, you'll have the power to reclaim your space and focus on relationships that lift you, not those that hold you back. Fifth sign: distorted representations and malicious gossip. Have you ever found yourself caught in the middle of rumors or false information being spread about you? Maybe people you once considered acquaintances or friends start acting strangely toward you, or you suddenly find yourself confronted with untruths that have somehow taken root. It's an unsettling feeling, isn't it? You start questioning how it all began and why anyone would feel the need to distort the truth. But this subtle form of manipulation is not always as obvious as it seems. Carl Jung understood the complexities of the human psyche and how, in times of emotional turmoil, people often use defense mechanisms to protect themselves. One of the most insidious ways this manifests is through the spreading of distorted representations or malicious gossip about others. When a person feels insecure or threatened by someone else's success, they may resort to tearing down that person's reputation to feel better about themselves. The goal is not to openly attack or insult, but to subtly erode the trust others have in you, and in doing so, bolster their fragile sense of self-worth. This kind of gossip rarely comes in the form of direct insults. Instead, it's wrapped in a layer of mockery or subtle insinuations meant to sow distrust. The remarks are often disguised as just a joke or friendly advice, but beneath the surface, they serve a far darker purpose: to undermine your character and make others question your intentions or integrity. It's insidious because it doesn't seem overtly malicious, but the effect can be deeply damaging to your emotional well-being. I've experienced this personally, finding myself the subject of whispered rumors, only to see how those distorted representations quickly spread and affect the way people treat me. It's painful when you realize that someone you trusted has chosen to manipulate the truth about you to make themselves feel more secure or powerful. It's even more painful when it's done quietly, behind your back, leaving you blindsided when the attitude of mutual acquaintances shifts suddenly and without explanation. Jung saw this behavior as an expression of unresolved inner conflicts. People who engage in this type of manipulation often do so because they are struggling with their feelings of inadequacy or frustration. Rather than confront their own issues, they project their pain onto others by demeaning or distorting the truth. And while the cause of this behavior may lie with the other person, its impact on you can be significant if you allow it to fester. The key to dealing with this type of situation is awareness. A conscious approach is crucial to maintaining your emotional balance. Once you recognize that someone is spreading false information about you, it's important to confront the situation head-on. Clear communication, setting boundaries, and standing firm in your truth can help protect you from the emotional damage that malicious gossip can cause. Don't let the rumors control your life. Take back your power by addressing the distortion and taking steps to preserve your peace of mind. Recognizing this dynamic in your relationships allows you to take control of the narrative rather than letting others dictate your reputation. And once you set those boundaries and protect yourself from harmful gossip, you'll find that the toxic influence of these individuals loses its power over you. Trust in your truth, and the rest will fall into place. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Sixth sign: inability to acknowledge your success or share in your joy. Have you ever had the experience of sharing something amazing you've achieved, only to be met with an awkward silence or a brush off? Perhaps you worked hard on a project, earned a promotion, or overcame a major challenge, and you expected a moment of celebration, or at least a warm, genuine congratulations. Instead, the person you shared it with seems distant, uninterested, or even dismissive of your success. In some cases, they might downplay your accomplishment or act as if it doesn't even matter. It's an unsettling feeling, isn't it? You start to question whether your achievement is as important as you thought, especially when the reaction you get doesn't match the joy and pride you're feeling inside. Carl Jung understood that suppressed emotions like envy or resentment can often manifest in someone's inability to genuinely share in the success or happiness of others. Instead of celebrating your victories with you, they might respond coldly or even with an air of condescension, as if your achievement is insignificant. This behavior creates an uncomfortable void between you, making it seem as though your success means nothing to them. It's like your moment of triumph is stolen before you even have a chance to savor it. This is no small matter. Jung believed that when people fail to acknowledge the joy of others, it's often a sign of deeper internal conflict. People who are struggling with their feelings of inadequacy or insecurity often find it difficult to genuinely rejoice in the success of others. Instead of sharing in your joy, they project their unresolved issues onto you, reacting with indifference or even resentment. They are unable to confront their fears and limitations, and as a result, they deflect their pain by making your success seem less valuable or even irrelevant. I've experienced this type of response before, and it's heartbreaking. When you expect support or celebration from someone you care about, only to be met with coldness, it feels like a rejection of everything you've worked so hard for. I've had moments where I've shared my joy, only to see the conversation shift immediately to something that serves the other person, as if my success isn't worthy of attention. It's an emotional slap in the face, and it can leave you feeling isolated, even in moments where you should feel surrounded by support. Jung reminded us that true friends and supporters show up, not just during the difficult times, but also when there's something worth celebrating. If someone consistently avoids or diminishes your successes, it's time to reflect on whether they truly have your best interests at heart. People in conflict with themselves often feel a deep pain when others achieve what they are longing for. Their inability to celebrate your success is a direct reflection of their unmet desires and unhealed wounds. When you notice cold, indifferent, or even dismissive reactions after sharing something important, you've likely encountered the sixth sign. It's a powerful reminder that this behavior speaks more about the person's internal struggles than it does about your worth or accomplishments. Protect your emotional well-being by recognizing that you don't need external validation to feel proud of yourself. You have every right to celebrate your victories, and you shouldn't allow someone else's emotional baggage to diminish the joy you feel. Instead, surround yourself with people who genuinely celebrate with you and who uplift you during both the highs and the lows. These are the relationships that will nourish your soul, empower your growth, and remind you of the importance of both giving and receiving joy. Don't let the coldness of others rob you of your light. Embrace your success, regardless of how others may respond. You are worthy of recognition, and your achievements deserve to be celebrated. Seventh sign, the reaction to your vulnerability. Have you ever been vulnerable with someone, opening up about your struggles, your pain, or your need for emotional support, only to have them react coldly or dismissively? Maybe you've shared your feelings, only to be met with impatience, a change of subject, or worse, a sense that your distress is somehow an inconvenience to them. It's a gut-wrenching feeling, isn't it? When you're at your most fragile, you need compassion and understanding, but instead, you're met with indifference or even blame. This behavior speaks volumes about the person's emotional state, and it's something we can't afford to ignore. Carl Jung understood that a person's reaction to another's vulnerability reveals a lot about their inner world. Someone who harbors deep resentment, anger, or unresolved hatred might exploit your moments of weakness to feel superior. Instead of offering the comfort and support that would help you heal, they remain distant, cold, or even condescending. Worse still, they may twist the situation and make you feel like your suffering is your fault. It's a painful experience that leaves you questioning not only your relationship with that person, but also your worth. This behavior often stems from the person's own shadow, those parts of themselves that they refuse to confront. People who can't accept their weaknesses, flaws, or struggles tend to devalue those traits in others. They have a hard time showing compassion because they can't allow themselves to experience it, either for themselves or others. Instead, when you show vulnerability, they react with impatience or even frustration because your pain forces them to face their discomforts. In their eyes, your suffering is an imposition, something that disrupts their carefully constructed emotional armor. I've felt the sting of this kind of reaction before. It's disorienting and painful when you open up, hoping for support, and instead you're met with apathy or harsh judgment. It can feel as though you're carrying a burden alone, even when you've reached out to someone for help. It leaves you questioning whether they truly care for you or if your needs are simply a nuisance to them. When someone refuses to meet you with compassion in moments of vulnerability, it's not just an emotional setback, it's a sign that the relationship is built on shaky ground. Jung emphasized that mutual compassion is a fundamental trait of healthy relationships. When it's missing, the connection between two people is tainted by negative energy. Relationships should provide a safe space where both parties can lean on each other in times of need, not one where you are made to feel less than or ignored when you need help the most. Pay close attention to how someone reacts when you're sick, emotionally drained, or going through a tough time. Are they there for you, offering a listening ear, or do they downplay your distress and shift the focus to their own needs? Recognizing this behavior is vital for protecting your emotional well-being. If someone consistently reacts coldly to your vulnerability, it's a clear sign that they are not emotionally capable of offering the support you deserve. It's crucial to surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your welfare, those who can be present with you when you're struggling and who don't shy away from offering the compassion and love that nurture healing. Don't settle for relationships where your vulnerability is met with disregard. You deserve to be around people who can hold space for your pain and celebrate your growth, people who will stand by you, not abandon you in your moments of need. Trust your instincts and know that true connection is built on mutual care, not on the coldness of those who refuse to show empathy. Eighth sign, attempting to control or manipulate your decisions. Have you ever found yourself constantly second-guessing your decisions or feeling unsure about your choices because someone else keeps questioning or criticizing them? Maybe it's a well-meaning friend or family member who offers advice that always seems to nudge you in a certain direction. At first, it might feel like they're just looking out for you, but over time, you begin to wonder if your judgment is being overshadowed by their influence. If this sounds familiar, you might be dealing with a more subtle form of manipulation that Carl Jung referred to as the desire to control or direct another person's decisions. According to Jung, the need to control others often comes from an internal imbalance. People who struggle with their issues, whether it's insecurity, fear, or unresolved conflict, often try to compensate by exerting control over the lives of those around them. It's a way for them to feel more powerful and in control of their world. But this manipulation rarely appears overtly. Instead, it wears the mask of caring advice, well-intentioned suggestions, or guidance that seems to come from a place of concern. They offer their opinions in a way that makes you feel like you're not just getting advice, but that you must follow it. I've felt this pressure myself, the subtle yet powerful feeling that someone else's expectations are weighing on my decisions. You start to doubt your judgment, questioning whether your choices are right or if you're simply not seeing things the way they do. Over time, this dynamic can become toxic. What starts as innocent guidance slowly turns into a situation where you feel increasingly dependent on that person's input to move forward. You may begin to feel like you can't decide without them, as if their validation has become the key to your success or happiness. But here's the truth. Your autonomy is slowly being undermined. When you're constantly deferring to someone else's guidance, your sense of self and decision-making power diminishes. It's a dangerous trap because, in reality, this form of manipulation is about control, not support. You're not truly making your own decisions, you're being subtly influenced, and perhaps you don't even realize how much it's happening. Jung emphasized that personal development and emotional freedom can only occur when we break free from these manipulative influences. True growth comes from embracing your values and making decisions that align with who you are, not who someone else wants you to be. Recognizing these subtle control tactics is the first step in reclaiming your independence and emotional power. If you feel like your choices are consistently being swayed by someone else's expectations, take a step back and ask yourself, are you really making your own decisions, or are you simply reacting to someone else's desires? The key to emotional freedom is breaking these manipulative chains and finding the courage to trust yourself again. Only then can you live a life that is truly yours, shaped by your values, not the shadows of someone else's influence. As we wrap up today's video, take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed. From recognizing subtle signs of hidden resentment and manipulation to understanding how certain behaviors in relationships can affect our emotional well-being, there's a lot to take in. So, what have you learned so far? Is there one particular sign or insight that stood out to you? Something that you feel could truly make a difference in the way you approach your relationships moving forward? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please, share with us in the comments below one thing you've learned today and how you plan to bring it into practice in your own life. It could be as simple as recognizing a subtle sign of sabotage, or it could be a shift in how you handle manipulation or lack of support. Whatever it is, your insights might just inspire someone else who's going through something similar. If you liked this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Together we can keep exploring, learning, and growing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.